Welcome to Two Hypnotherapists Talking with me, Denise Billen-Mejia, in Delaware, USA.
And me, Martin Furber, in Preston, UK.
This weekly podcast is for anyone and everyone who'd like to know more about the fascinating subject of hypnosis and the benefits it offers.
I'm a clinical hypnotherapist and psychotherapist.
I'm a retired medical doctor turned consulting hypnotist.
We are Two Hypnotherapists Talking.
So let's get on with the episode.
Denise, hello again, series 4.
I know, and the summer's over.
The summer's like, well, our summer was on a Tuesday. I don't know about yours.
Oh no, well we had the excessive summer over here.
No
crazy.
It's been miserable in England, miserable.
Yeah,
absolutely miserable, and down south as well. Usually, if we're having it bad up here, it comes on the weather. You know, it's 16 or 17 degrees up here, and it shows London at 27. No, not this year. Yeah.
Anyway, the temperatures are returning to normal temperatures now. So it's warm. It's nice to go for a walk. It's not bad at all. But you and I were chit-chatting a little bit before we opened up here. What are we going to talk about this time? And I'm going to be very honest here. Mm-hmm. I don't consider this a vulnerable statement, but I am going to be honest. My sleep schedule has gone completely to pot in the last 2 or 3 months.
Because you're human.
Yes, I know, but I am, I refuse to go to bed unless I know I'm going to sleep, because I do not wish to lie in bed looking at the ceiling.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
So I go through my routine around 10:30, 11 o'clock.
Okay.
And I can't turn off.
Right. Racing thoughts, is it?
Well, I don't know if they're racing, but they just keep coming. And it's, I'm very bad. I do play with my computer a lot. Admittedly, it's an iPad at that time of day. Okay. And I answer emails from all over the world. I answer you because you're getting up when I should have been in bed. Yeah. Normally, you would expect me to answer in the morning, but oh, look, I'm here. Hi, Martin. Okay. So all of those things are very bad, but hypnosis does help. And I know, obviously, since I do this all the time for a living, that I should be using it to help me sleep.
I know, but it's a case of the cobbler's children, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. Do they have that expression over there as well?
Yes. Well, I've given it to them if they don't have
it to them. No, I mean, the first thing you mentioned there, though, or one of the first things you mentioned, was using your iPad late at night. That's that blue light thing, isn't it? You know, It's the worst kind of light you can have because it's keeping your brain cells going and fired up.
Right. Same thing with the television. I should let my husband goes to bed ridiculously early because he gets up ridiculously early, like your friend, and I should take my evening medicines, turn off everything. I should read a book. I used to read books, and I have become so addicted to instant communication.
I think we all have, though.
Yeah, I mean, I know. And I've got to reprogram my subconscious. Anybody can help.
I think it all is, though, isn't it? Everybody's so used to getting instant replies or expecting instant replies. You know, it's the thing when somebody replies to a text after a week, it's like, well, if I wanted to wait a week, I would have posted you a letter.
Over here, you'd wait forever then.
Yeah.
They'd never get there. But yeah, and it's the assumption that everything is going to be instant gratification. It's like, I will do this. I will go to a hypnotist and boom, I will not have this issue anymore. Sometimes that's true, but usually there's a time lag.
Yeah, because especially if it's something like getting rid of a long-standing habit, something that takes years to establish, it's unlikely you can get rid of it instantly.
Yeah.
It takes a little bit more work than that. But no, sleep, you use the phrase sleep hygiene.
Yes, that's a very common phrase here.
Yeah,
it means going to bed at the same time, getting up at the same time, not being on your iPad half an hour before bed. Yeah, those are the things that would constitute sleep hygiene.
Okay, so
the proper kind of routine that you should have to get your mind and body ready to sleep.
Okay, how did you manage in your previous profession? Because you were working all kinds of crazy shifts, weren't you?
Yeah. And that was an assumption that if I was working the 11 to 11 shift, meaning finishing at 11 in the evening, I was probably going to be at the hospital for a couple of hours before I'd get home. So I'd be getting home around 2. Then I would watch infomercials to wind down.
Yeah.
Which of course is considered blue light, so that's not a terribly good idea. But when I stopped work, and I worked nights for the last 5 years of my career, when I stopped working, my body sort of assumed if I was still awake if I was upright at 10 o'clock, then I was working, and it wouldn't turn off until 4. And it took me probably 3 or 4 years after of not working before I really got into a sleep pattern. And it got very good. It's just recently that I've had so much going on. And because this is a therapy session, everybody that's listening, and because my husband goes to bed so early, I'm not going to bed at 9 or 9:30. So I tend, if I'm not watching TV, then I'm going to be on my computer. And it's like there's no non-blue light in my life, even with all the filters on the machines that dim it. It's still there.
Well, in the true solution focused way, I think you've already found your own answer there, because you've already mentioned it. Why don't I read a book? I used to read a book and fall asleep. I'm no blue light.
And I have tons of books I could read.
Yeah. Or you could buy some more.
That are fun. Not try and study at night either. I don't need.
Yeah, it's got to be something that you lose, that you immerse yourself in.
Right. Anyway, I promise to do better. You can check with me next week.
All right. But
it is true. When clients come to me, the second session, they almost always say how much better they're sleeping.
Yeah, you give people a recording to listen to at night time, don't you? Yeah,
every night.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, that helps. But if somebody's coming with sort of a long-term sleep issue for whatever reason, even with the nighttime recordings, yes, that will help the process. But they may need some extra work on top of that. For example, what the causes of it are, if it's stress and anxiety that's built up. We all know stress can build up slowly over a period of time, can't it?
I find very few people come to me and sleep is the first thing they talk about. I think it's just so common for people to be sleep deprived that they almost negate it. So they'll come and say they're getting headaches. They'll come and say they're feeling really stressed at work. They'll come and say they're having panic attacks. And it isn't until the second session when they say how much better it is. That it's like you stop hitting yourself over the head. Oh, the pain's gone. Amazing. I think that's the problem. We are beginning, I believe, to pay attention to those aspects of our health. But for so long, particularly in the US, it's like you aren't worth anything if you're not working.
Yeah,
I mean, physically at that moment, we don't take very many vacations.
Just going to say, it's the same. You don't take the holidays that we get over here. Is paternity leave even heard of over there?
Very few places. Some, I know that paternity leave is given in Delaware.
Okay.
Because a couple who live on the next street had a baby a year February, and the mother, who works in Maryland, had 2 months off for maternity leave, and her husband had 4 months off for paternity leave.
Wow, paid?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow, good. About time.
Yeah, but she, who actually produced said child,
only got 2 months.
Got 2 months, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Unbelievable.
So there's those kinds of things. We only did the standard vacation time for regular people is 2 weeks a year. We do get about 1 federal holiday a month, approximately. There's some months you get 2 and some months you don't get any, but it's about 12 a year. But not everybody. If you work in a shop, you're not going to get that time off.
No, because shopping's a leisure pursuit, isn't it, these days? So when it's a holiday, shop workers are always working.
Go shopping. Yeah. So those things, and just in general, Americans have burned the oil at both ends. Candle at both ends. Burn the midnight oil, burning the candle at both ends. So mix your metaphors, Denise.
Yeah. Okay. So then I would hazard the guess. This is why one of the reasons why you got such a big obesity problem over there, because if you don't sleep well, you can overeat. If you don't sleep well, your body isn't healing. It's not processing. It's not digesting properly.
Your cortisol levels up.
Yeah, your cortisol levels up. I mean, I say it, everything starts with a good night's sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And it does. It's like you say, you get clients coming to you with a headache. And it's like, well, yeah, actually, your headache's probably because you're not sleeping so good.
Right.
But they don't realize
Right.
that until they start sleeping better.
Yeah, or they're blaming a headache, the
Yeah,
lack of sleep
for
on
the
the
lack of
headache
sleep,
rather right,
and
right. Yeah.
then you're in that vicious cycle.
Right.
Yeah. Now it's like, well, if you came to you right at this moment, what would you advise you to do?
I tell me to really enjoy my holiday, which is before this is going to be aired, but after we're recording it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Both of us actually are taking time off right at the end of August, which is shortly upon us.
Yeah.
And then we'll be starting our new, academic year basically in September. Things will get busy again.
Yeah, well, I'm going off on a plane for a couple of days. My first time on a plane for 8 years. Can you believe it?
Ooh, really?
Yeah,
It's
8
not.
years.
It's not a lot. It's a short flight.
No,
Right?
just a short flight over to Belgium for the weekend.
You're going to be longer at TSA than you will be on the plane. That's
dear.
okay.
Getting back. This is a hypnotherapy podcast, by the way, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Getting back to hypnotherapy.
It's not transportation. Okay. So do you ever see clients purely for sleep?
Let me think. I don't think anybody's ever come to me and said, I need help with sleeping, and just that. No.
But it has been an addition to whatever else they're doing.
Yeah. I mean, whatever people come to see me for, my concern is getting their stress levels down, because invariably they're stressed. Whatever it is they come to see me for, they're stressed, they're anxious. Maybe whatever else it is they've come to see me for has made them anxious, i.e., it's made them stressed. So yeah, their sleep will be affected. But part of what I explain to people about how our minds work is we need our sleep. Everything starts with a good night's sleep.
Yeah, you can cope with most things if you've had a decent night's sleep.
Interestingly, when I get people who work shift patterns, and I mean irregular patterns, i.e., a week of working 6 a.m. till 2 p.m, and then a week of working 6 p.m. till 2 a.m, they can never get themselves in a nice, decent, long-term routine. To my mind, I don't know. You tell me what you think. It would be better if they just did permanent nights 6 till 2 or whatever. That would be better than keep chopping and changing.
That was sort of why I did that, because I had to do a certain number of nights. So it would just make me nights. It would make it easier. It did make it easier because very few people want you to swap with them, because it means they're going to have to work nights. They'd rather not. But I would do sometimes 6 nights in a row, which is basically 2 weeks of work when you work 12-hour shifts, and then be off for a prolonged time. But of course, it would take you a full day to get back in sync with the rest of the world. And those days you are off, if you're still sort of on a night schedule, unless you're living in New York City, which is the city that doesn't sleep anyway, you know, who are you supposed to talk to? You can't, if constantly switching back and forth is very unhealthy. But really being up at night, period, is probably unhealthy. And unfortunately, there are a lot of jobs that you have to have. You have to have police officers, you have to have ambulance people, you have to have doctors and nurses and all the other things that go along with it.
And you have to have people at work at night able to feed them in their breaks.
Yes. Yes, all that. Yeah. This, I don't know if it's stood up to the test of time, but they used to say that you should, ideally you would do a morning shift, an evening shift, a night shift, and then be off for several days and then do the same thing again. So your body sort of progressed through that more naturally. But you still, if it's, well, you had the day off, but you had a day off, most of which you were asleep for, or at least not functioning terribly well, and then you start work again. You need several days off to be able to get back into sync.
Yeah, it'd be like having permanent jet lag, though.
When people are sleep deprived, they are as if they are drunk, and you don't have to be very sleep deprived to be. I mean, obviously they're not talking to you like it. They don't experience it in the same way, but your reflexes are slower. People get into more car accidents. And if it's really bad, they'll fall asleep. You've probably, as I have, had sleep deprived clients come to you to be hypnotized, and you can't keep them there. They have to go to sleep. So they fall asleep in the process.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, the one thing I do find useful with clients who, need help with sleep, amongst other things, is just the fact, just taking them into hypnosis the first time, they suddenly realize or remember they are capable of really relaxing and letting go, because that's
And how
part
nice
of
it
it.
feels.
Yeah. And how nice it feels. I mean, because that's the thing, if you're stressed, if you're anxious, if you're blue lighted, when you go to bed, you're not going to go into that nice deep relaxation. You're not just going to breathe and let yourself drift off, are you? Perhaps without a little bit of training.
And I've had the training. I should be doing it.
Yeah, I know, but it's cobbler's children.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's not just about hypnotizing people to do things. It's about encouraging the healthy behavior as well, isn't it?
right.
A regular sleep routine pattern, a regular pattern of things before you go to bed. I mean, for some people, having a hot bath can really unwind them and get them ready for sleep. And yet there's an argument to the contrary, isn't there, about heating the body up just before bedtime? Yeah.
Actually, I remember how we first decided we were going to talk about this. In the show notes, there is a link to another YouTube, which is my friend Nisha Bhupal, who is a sleep doctor. She's a psychiatrist who specializes in sleep, speaking to an internal medicine doctor who is a sleep doctor and a hypnotist, and they talk about hypnosis in sleep.
Right. Okay.
It's quite so people can listen to that one as well.
just for those of us that don't have a doctorate, what's a doctor of internal medicine?
Internal medicine is medicine. It's for when you're either a medicine person or a surgeon person. So this is general medicine, but not family practice. They don't see children. It's adult medicine.
Right. Okay. With you. Yeah. It's not a term I've heard or registered before.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's registered. I think you don't bother with it in Britain. We here a GP here would be family medicine here.
Yeah, family doctor. Yeah.
The difference being, for most family medicine people, they also have hospital responsibilities, whereas GPs are outpatient.
Yeah, they're just based out in the field, as it were.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So similar amount of training.
Yeah. I mean,
that was a segue. It went somewhere weird.
It was, yeah. And
yeah. You can chop it out, particularly your coffee.
Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. We're not chopping it out. No.
Yes, and there's another reminder to people. It's my early afternoon. It's his bedtime. We are 5 hours time difference.
All right, but okay. Think of some other things though that can actually lead to people's sleep difficulties that they may come and see us for. I'm thinking of things like those sort of negative thought patterns and beliefs that people can have about themselves that can prey on the mind when they get to bed. I mean, if you're
a bad day at work.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody looking at you sideways and you take offense. I mean, there's so many things that trigger you that the person who is doing the thing doesn't necessarily mean. And they just may be having a really bad day too. And they'll say something and it just hits you wrong. And you're down this spiral.
What I always find fascinating with clients is when you explain to them that the sort of negative side of our brain, the primitive side, is designed to see everything in the worst possible case scenario. That's what it's designed to do, to protect us.
That is very much like my previous career. If you see a doctor, they're going to think of the worst thing it could be, and they gradually move down.
Oh, is that how they do it?
Of course, we need to know what is going to kill you before we look at whether you've got a stubbed toe. I mean, not really. We're pretty quick at deciding it's just a stubbed toe, but you have to think of the worst thing first, and that is the way everybody. You hear a bang, somebody got shot. No, that was a car. You run through this little pattern of what was that noise.
Yeah, but we automatically see everything from the worst case scenario. Just segue again though, you've just said there the doctor will think of the worst possible thing it could be and then work backwards. And yet over here in the UK, when it comes to medication with NHS GPs, they give you the cheapest option first of all. And if that doesn't work, then they'll give you something better.
Yeah, no, it should be okay.
That's a personal opinion, may I say.
This is definitely off. This is not a part of hypnosis. Physicians everywhere are going to look for the cheapest way that's effective to deal with the issue. So they'll take the drug that works for most people, unless they know you particularly well and know what that won't work for you. So that's why you'll get amoxicillin and then wind up with some, fifth generation version.
Yeah.
I must defend my former colleagues.
No, I'm thinking that the budgetary requirements given out by the government. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the skill of the doctor at all.
No.
I'm just saying that they are restricted. They've got to give you the cheap crap first.
Yeah, and it's the same thing here. First, before you can have a hysterectomy that you clearly need, you have to have 6 months of birth control pills that you don't need, but we're going to do it anyway. Yeah, that is true everywhere. But that's definitely not a hypnosis issue. Although, if you're having pain associated with whatever that is, we may be able to help you in addition to your physician helping you
after it's been checked out by the doctor. Now that's interesting, actually. If somebody came to see you and said, I suffer with long-term back pain, okay, my doctor's given me painkillers for it, which give me a good quality, but when I get to bed at night time, then I can really feel the pain.
Right.
Yeah.
So yes, one, they should let their doctor know that whatever they're giving them isn't working. It depends on why they have pain, but most definitely, with the doctor's blessing, I would help them with their chronic pain.
Yeah. I mean, that's something. I mean, if you've ever had toothache, you'll know you cannot get to sleep with it. It's the worst, one of the worst pains ever. Toothache.
Whatever the pain is you're having at the moment, that's the worst pain.
Yeah.
If you've got a bad headache, earache, anything you can't get away from, but hypnosis can help you get away from it. You can learn to ignore things you don't like. But first of all, you have to make sure that the pain response of your body is not telling you something very important.
Well, yeah, it's usually there for a reason,
an emergency room. Exactly. Yeah. Well, it is originally, but okay, got the message. Thank you very much. We can turn you off now, and we'll deal with that in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just thinking of other reasons why people would stay awake, why they would lie in bed and not be able to get to sleep. Obviously, we've said,
there's the physical stuff. We need to you need to turn off the light, and you need to make sure you're not coughing because you forgot to dust under the bed, and you did all those kind of physical conditions. Are you eating too close to bedtime? Are there other things? There's a lot of just general good rules that people should
what about somebody who you would perhaps deem, or they would deem themselves, let's put it that way, as a worrier, saying they're fine until they get to bed and then they lie there worrying, have a switch
when they don't have anything else to distract them from being worried. So now they're in bed in the dark, all those thoughts can crowd in. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, hypnosis can certainly help with that, can't it?
Absolutely. But again, they should check with their doctor because they may have more serious. Denise, what kind of English is this? They might have a more serious complaint too. There are some anxiety conditions that require medication, not just.
Yeah, it is good, when we show our human side, isn't it? And we come out with grammatical errors.
I have a lot of that.
Oh dear me! But it is, like I say it to every single client. Everything starts with a good night's sleep. It absolutely does, and I know it's one of those old-fashioned expressions, and it's the same with so much to do with our mental well-being and wellness, isn't it? Our overall well-being. It's always the old-fashioned things: eat well, get a good night's sleep, eat decent food, regular meals,
allow your body to heal itself.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, of course. If we don't sleep properly, we don't heal properly. That is, I think people, again, I like to give people an explanation of what happens whilst we're asleep. Our body heals, doesn't it? If you've got a cut on your hand, it does most of the healing, I think, when you're asleep.
That is also what's happening in your brain. Whilst you're sleeping, it's cleaning itself. It sounds very weird, but it truly is. There's a surge of fluids that go through and clean out, gets rid of all those little particles that are just jamming up the works. You really do need a good 5 or 6 hours at an absolute minimum.
Yeah, I mean,
and your personal results may vary because some people need 9 or 10.
Yeah, some people do. But I always like to use computer analogies when I talk about the brain with people. And I always say it's like doing a defrag at night time.
Yep.
Do you remember when computers did that?
I still do it with mine periodically.
Oh, no. Mine's not done it for years.
It probably, but
one analogy I like to give is the fact that when we're sleeping and we're in that REM sleep state and we're dreaming, that's when we detach the emotion from our memories.
mm-hmm.
And then we can just recall it as a narrative memory without all the emotion attached to it.
Which is a very useful thing to do for somebody who's suffering from the effects of bad memories of bad events.
Yeah. Yeah, or even from the daytime though. I mean, this is an analogy I always use. If you've had an argument with somebody at work, for example, over nothing too life-changing, let's say there was an argument over who forgot to order the toner for the photocopier. Let's keep it something really bland like that. Okay. And you had a really big argument with them and you went home. If you got a good night's sleep, you'd sleep it off. You'd file it away without the emotion. You'd wake up the next morning thinking, maybe I overreacted a bit there. I'll go and take them for a Starbucks. Yeah. Other overpriced coffees are
and quite likely, the argument wouldn't have happened at all if both parties had already had a decent night's sleep and were dealing with their day in a regular.
Absolutely.
Yes, you're going to have unpleasant exchanges with people, but sleep is so essential for good health.
Yeah.
And since the modality that we practice is called hypnosis, which means sleep, which is silly because that's not what you're doing.
No.
But yeah, so I think that people should definitely go and listen to Nishi's video and listen to, I can't remember her name now, it's so embarrassing. Completely blanked on the woman's name, but the physician who
is it on your podcast channel? Is it one of your Myth, Magic, Medicine podcasts?
No. But I will put it, if you don't mind, I can put it on our page for I'll just put it as an additional recommended.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Actually, I have to get round to listening to that myself. I do enjoy your other podcasts. You were beginning to sound like one of those infomercials you were talking about that you're watching tonight.
Lots and lots of practice.
So, I've got it down here on my notes. Some individuals may develop anxiety specifically related to sleep, fear of insomnia, performance anxiety around.
Yes, sleep. I can understand them not being able to sleep because they're scared they can't sleep. Are people actually frightened of sleep? Or or is that little death thing? They well, that's something else. But is that fear of loss of control?
It could be. It could be. I used to have real problems sleeping years ago, but that was when I was grossly overweight and smoked very heavily as well. Mm-hmm. They were the causes of it, or and the lack of, again, that spiral. The lack of sleep mm-hmm. causes the overweight, or the overweight causes the lack of sleep. Who knows? But you need to get them both sorted out. But I did start to have a fear of going to sleep for quite some time.
Because you didn't think you'd wake up?
Yeah, exactly that. Not a fear of dying per se. I'm not frightened of dying. We all do it. But it was just that fear of going to sleep, thinking, I might just sort of gag or choke. Because if you remember, I've got some bad chest things, and I would wake up in the night gasping for breath. Absolutely gasping. And that sort of then gave me a bit of a fear of going to sleep. And it was just basically before I sorted myself out. But that was when it was at its worst, as things were getting worse in terms of weight. It wasn't sleep apnea, but I would just wake up in the night gasping for breath, as in like that. But I think that was the obesity.
Horrible.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
But hypnosis helped you with that too. Did you notice your sleep patterns getting better as you dropped weight?
Absolutely. I noticed, this was the thing, with a lot of it with me was self-hypnosis. And this was where I learned in the daytimes when I was practicing and doing everything. It was like, wow, this is actually quite good. And then I would go to bed at night time. It was like I would look forward to going to sleep rather than being frightened of it. It was like, I want to go into that nice state again, that nice dreamy, drifting off and being all at peace state. and not be frightened of waking up in the night gasping. But that was as the weight came off. I mean, it was a lot of weight to lose. Yeah.
When did you, how much had you lost at the point where you realized that it was
Probably
working?
I got rid of about 3 stone of the 9 stone. So about 40 pounds.
So that would be my goal. So yeah. So that's a long time to wait, because I mean, obviously the more you have to lose, the faster it'll come off initially, and it slows down.
Yeah.
But so how long did it take you to lose that first 40? I mean, I'm asking a lot now. It's a ways back.
Probably about 6 months, because I did it slowly, as opposed to all the stupid crash diets I'd done in the past.
Yes, but it's still, I said it comes off faster at first. I don't mean you lose 10 pounds a week. Yeah. I mean, but it is faster at the beginning because it's a percentages thing.
Yeah. I mean, I can't remember the exact point where all of a sudden it was like I started to look forward to going to sleep. And waking up refreshed. Now that was something I hadn't experienced for a lot of years. Yeah.
Did you go through a lot of dragging yourself out of bed in the morning sort of feeling, or?
Oh, yeah. I used to sort of get myself out of bed, and it was like literally 10 cigarettes and 3 cups of coffee before I could even speak to anybody.
That was a lot of abuse your body was taking.
Yeah, absolutely. I was terrible with the cigarettes. Terrible.
When did you start smoking?
When did I start? When I tried my first one when I was about 9 years old, but I started smoking properly when I was about 14.
How did you get hold of the one when you were 9? Somebody just left them lying around, or did somebody actually encourage you?
It was England.
At 9?
You could buy them in the shop. You just go in and say they're from my dad, and they'd sell them you.
Oh, okay.
But I started smoking properly when I was about 14. And I was very quickly up to 40 a day. By the time I was 18, I was smoking 40 a day, and then did basically all my adult life until I stopped, which was 2013.
That's a long time.
So I was smoking for over 40 years.
Yeah,
and I'm still paying the price.
But I mean, you are obviously much healthier than you were when you were.
I can walk 4 miles uphill, no problem now. Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. Different. I couldn't get up the stairs 10 years ago. Literally couldn't get up the stairs without grabbing for my Ventolin. Yeah, seriously.
And hypnosis helped him lose the weight. Yeah,
hypnosis helped me lose the weight. It also helped me rearrange things in terms of setting healthier habits all round, healthier lifestyle habits. Not just the sleeping, it was the weight loss, it was the smoking, it was everything.
We've rattled on enough.
That is what the show's always about, though. It's two hypnotherapists talking, and we go around in circles, and we repeat ourselves, and we go off topic, and that's what it's
all
about.
The time.
And we have a small, but very beautiful and loyal audience, and thank you for watching another episode.
And that audience, should they be in need of hypnosis themselves, and sometimes hypnotherapists are in need, can contact either of us through the contact information below, or just ask us for a reputable person in your area. Yeah, both of us know quite a lot of people now, so
yeah, absolutely. And we've got guests on this series as well. We'll have a guest on next week. I'm not sure who yet, but we will have guests on this series, hopefully from far and wide, like last time. We had them from all parts of the States, didn't we? Yeah,
and the UK, and even Iran. So
yeah, Iran as well. That's right. Yeah, of course. So yeah, I'm not quite sure who we've got lined up yet for this series, but we will have hypnotherapists from different areas of hypnotherapy in different areas of the world, and they'll be bringing
and they ramble a little less than you and I, because we just talk to each other all the time. So anyway, that's what it's called, Two Hypnotherapists Talking, and we are.
Right. See you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.
We hope you've enjoyed listening. Please remember, this podcast is designed to give you an insight into therapeutic hypnosis and is for educational purposes only. So remember, consult with your own healthcare professional if you think something you've heard may apply to you or a loved one.
If you found this episode useful, you can apply for free continuing professional development or CME credits using the link provided in the show notes. feel free to contact either of us through the links in the show notes. Join us again next week.